you.
All right, guys, welcome. My name is Tyler Lawrence, and we're going to be talking about fossil fuel subsidies. Let me start this slideshow. I got 3 minutes to start the slideshow. There, it is done. It is done. All right. So, energy drives economies. This is fundamental to human development, and developing economies, well, they need cheap energy. So, according to the Environmental Energy Study Institute, fact sheet from July 29, 2019, no author. The US government has a long history of intervention in the energy market. Through government subsidies, US government helps the fossil fuel industry get on its feet. And this spurs economic development and improves the quality of life for the citizens. Just think of upgrading from a wood stove to having gas piped into your house. Not only is it way healthier for you, but you're going to be a lot more productive with your time, and you're going to be able to produce more capital that way. And because you're not chopping firewood, for example. So subsidies have made fossil fuel cheap, but as I'm going to show you, the U.S. is using the same system now to make renewable energy cheap. So the American climate policy is reducing emissions and has been for the past 10 years. A win for the climate, Biden-Harris fiscal year 2024 budget took almost $1 trillion. Oops, there we go. From oil and gas industry and is distributing it to the green energy transition. So that's a big deal. $1 trillion over 10 years. All right, so subsidies work both ways. The U.S. Subsidies goes towards clean energy development. 50% of the subsidies are for green energy transition. 15% still goes to fossil fuel. And yeah, brain fart. It's all right. Those subsidies include things like methane and CO2 carbon capture from smokestacks. So even the current fossil fuel subsidies are geared towards efficiency and reducing pollution. 35% goes directly to the population to assist with energy bills. And this does not include subsidies from the Inflation Reduction Act. That's another 1.6 trillion that the US has dedicated to clean energy. This is not the case internationally. In fact, it's pretty much flipped backwards. Oil and gas subsidies reached $1 trillion, which is 70% of all government subsidies in the world. And only 20% was allocated to clean energy. So there's a clear disparity between what developed economies can do and what developing nations can do. Like I said, cheapness is a factor. So you can see with this chart here, the US is in a downtrend and has been since 2000. And China, lifting its citizens out of poverty, has increased its emissions at the same time. India also going up as well. So the top CO2 emitters by organization, you'll see Saudi Aramco here and Gazprom. These are state-funded oil companies. One is from Saudi Arabia, others from Russia, and they're contributing total above 13% of all emissions for the globe. So why does this matter? It's because the U.S. can't really tell Saudi Arabia how to use their energy, and so yeah, you need something else. So enter the Paris Climate Agreement of 2015. Has 194 countries plus the EU makes 195, and you can see on the left here we got gigatons of CO2, and the Paris Climate Agreement agrees that we want to get below 2 degrees Celsius of warming, and that's really going to limit the economic devastation to a manageable level. Anything above this yellow line and into this blue line with current policies we're going to see major economic devastation and a lot of loss of human life, uh, especially with crop failures and droughts and just severe weather events. So we're trying to limit destruction. Oh, and that's a picture of where a tornado should not have been, because Tornado Alley is actually expanding into areas that were previously not, not there. I think that was in Tennessee when that happened, and Tennessee is not known for tornadoes. So, so large economies, they have a lot of work to do. Um, Clearly, we are reducing emissions, but we have a responsibility to help the developing nations not only take care of their people, but to increase energy distribution as well in a fair and equitable way. So, according to the UN website on climate change, no date, no publication, developed nations are going to have to take the lead in providing financial support for developing nations. And according to Esme Stollard of the BBC, February 4th, 2024, advanced economies agreed to contribute $100 billion to helping countries deal with the loss and damage from climate change and also develop clean energy. And also, a side note, to develop resiliency. So America and the EU are leading the way in the green transition. Their leadership is going to be crucial in the decades to come. And so we really are playing the long game because all these projections are going to happen, in 2050. So this is a multi-generational project, multi-country project. We really need all hands on deck, especially the US. So with that in mind, after this presentation, I'm going to have you guys sign a letter to Donald Trump, uh, asking him not to leave the Paris Climate Agreement for a second time. As you know, he did leave in 2017, and we rejoined in 2021. But so yeah, if you guys agree with all this, then you can help me do that. All right, or do that for me. So in conclusion, we've discovered that developing economies need access to cheap and plentiful energy, and the way this happens is through government subsidies. We've also discovered that advanced economies are slowly able to decarbonize their energy and transportation sectors, also through the use of subsidies. So finally, leadership is going to be required from advanced economies of the world if we're to meet established emission and temperature goals of less than 2 degrees Celsius. So last thing, according to Dolph Gelland et al. In the publication, The Role of Renewable Energy, Global Energy Transformation, in April 2019 paper, energy transition typically takes 50 years from market uptake to majority market share. So the US started their energy transition 24 years ago. Developing nations are just starting their transition today, basically, or within the last 5 years. So that puts us at 2080, to shift our energy mix to renewable energies from fossil fuels. So, like I said, we're playing the long game. We need all hands on deck, and we especially need industry in the United States to be on board. And thank you. That'll be all. Stop recording.